once again, good morning and welcome. Those of you listening, Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9. Those of you viewing GBN TV, Channel 7, Channel 11, Channel 20. Good morning to you. Welcome. It's the Mid-Morning Buzz. I'm your host, the GT. I'll be around with you for the next couple of minutes. Let me say good morning to my guest this morning. That's, of course, Mr. Tony Neate. Good morning to you once again. And, of course, we suddenly had Tony sometime last week. A bit of a conversation we had last week, and we're certainly happy to have him back this morning once again. Tony, good morning, and how are you? I hope you don't mind me rolling a first-name basis.
Great to be with you. I'm doing well this morning. I hope you and all your listeners are doing well as well. Looking forward to having a good chinwag with you again about another campaign that we're running in the Caribbean.
So true. Of course, Tony's the CEO of Get Safe Online. Is a leading source of course, an unbiased, authoritative that, of course, an easy and understand information about protecting against fraud, identity theft, virus, and many other problems encountered online. So, Tony, good morning. Our conversation this morning, of course, is about actually act with respect. Of course, act with respect. Tell us about this particular campaign, if we could just dive directly into it.
Well, it's online respect, and it's one of the most important things about the community is that members maintain respect for people. Yeah. Now, something that I've always said, and I still say regularly, be careful what you say on the internet. If you wouldn't say it to your mother, if you wouldn't say it to a policeman, and you wouldn't say it to a bus full of people, then you really shouldn't be saying it online. And that's the basis of what we're trying to talk about. You know, there's two types of disrespect. There's inadvertent disrespect, when you're just not thinking about what you're saying and how it might affect someone. And there's the deliberate disrespect. I don't know whether we'll ever stop that deliberate disrespect, because people are keyboard warriors. They hide behind the anonymity of the internet, and they're basically cowards, and they wouldn't dream of saying it to your face. But it's the inadvertent disrespect we've got to talk about as well.
All right. Now tell me, why do individuals decide to go to pick up that particular mantle and go with the disrespect that they throw out? Why do you think people really do that?
I think people do it automatically. I think it's one of the things that, as I said, they hide behind the anonymity. They're keyboard warriors. They wouldn't dream of saying it to their mother or to a bus full of people, but they think it's big and clever to do it online. And it's very disrespectful, and it can talk about all sorts of different issues, religious, political, whether it's on the grounds of gender, sexual orientation, body image. You know, people will have a go. We've seen it before in relation to funerals, where people are abusing people who have just died. It's absolutely tragic what people are supposed to do. And I suppose the other thing I'd say is, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. I'm a Welshman. I live in the UK and I live in Wales. And we love a good debate. We love a good discussion. But we do it respectfully. And if you can't have a debate with someone and walk away as friends afterwards, then something has seriously gone wrong, as you know, GT.
Tell me, why, of course, is this such a concern? This is a concern, of course, for being the organization that you're a part of. Why is this such a concern?
Well, because I think we're seeing the spiraling down of community and society when this takes place. And they never had the option to do this before. If you wanted to be anonymous, you'd have to write an anonymous thing in the world. So I think people are just... They're frustrated, they're annoyed, they get angry. And I think one of the problems with online respect is they can empower people to take up the mantle and start to do things physically. You know, we've seen it where people have been pushed into physical violence as a result of what is being said online. And that is really, really important. We don't need this. And we see it from all our areas. We see it from politicians, we see it from celebrities, and just general members of the public. They say it without thinking and what the effect is having. You know, when I was brought up, I was told sticks and stones may break your bones, but names will never hurt you. That's not true. Names can be devastating to somebody, and it can ruin you. And the lashback can be physical.
Think about the psychological effect. Tell me about the psychological effect that do have on individuals.
Well, I've
that you may have even experienced that. So
they've been followed, they've been taken offline, but it's affected them mentally, where they don't want to go out, they don't want to speak to people, and it's easy to throw away these lines, not realising the mental effect it has on people, and it can. We've seen it certainly in the UK. We've seen youngsters killing themselves, committing suicide as a result of the bullying and the disrespect that they get online, sometimes from people that they know from school. And it's one of the things that I've always talked about. If you're bullied in school, or you were when you were my age and I was in school, it would finish when you went home. It would finish because the school holidays were on. But now that disrespect, that bullying continue when you're at home and when you're on your holiday break in the summer. So it is something we all need to think about, and people need to think about it from different angles. If you're a parent, think about what your children are doing. If you're a child, think about how your parents react online, and your friends and your relatives and your neighbours and your work colleagues. Keep an eye on it, and if you see it, shout it out. Let people know that it's not expected and not good news to be disrespectful on the internet.
Tell me, Get Safe Online, why do you think it was that necessary for a campaign of this particular nature and express it within the boundaries of the Caribbean and the world as a whole? Why Get Safe decided to, let's put a bit of a focus on the respect aspect of being online?
Well, we see it absolutely everywhere. We're in 26 countries around the world. We're in 12 countries in the Caribbean. And this disrespect happens everywhere. And the one thing that I was amazed at, I was a police officer for 30 years in the UK. And, I thought the crimes we were seeing were just crimes that we were seeing in the UK. It's not. It's crimes that we're seeing everywhere in the world. Certainly when it comes to the Caribbean, we're seeing it just the same. In Grenada, it's really badly picked up. And people hide behind it, as I say. Luckily, within Grenada, we have a partner that we work with, which is the Cybersecurity Incident Response Team. And they are very supportive of what we do. They realise that there can be disrespect, and that can be very hurtful for people. So for people to look at what we're doing now and what we've done in the past in relation to students and what we've done in relation to ransomware, all they have to do is go to the Get Safe Online website, which is getsafeonline.gd. And you can also go to social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, or Threads, and all you have to put in there is Get Safe Online Caribbean. Really, really important that you follow this up, that you point people to this, and try and have a bit of respect, just like you would respect your family.
So true. Now, tell us about, of course, in this segment, I want you to just give me spend some time and tell me about the impact of this in terms of respect. Because we know respect takes you a long way. Someone will say, the respect that you have is what you earn from someone and not what you get from someone. You understand? Someone just giving you respect may not always be as good as you think it is. But the respect that you earn from one may always be important. Tell us about the impact of this particular campaign.
Well, I think as I've said, it affects everybody when people are rude, disrespectful, discourteous, and extreme when they're online. And
1st of May
on a GT that you've probably had very bad emails, very bad things said about you online, about how you produce your show, and it's just not acceptable. You can criticize somebody, but you can do it in a much better way. And we're spiraling down in society now, where this is being accepted and it's commonplace, and it shouldn't be, and it should be called out when it's. You've probably been at the sharp end of it, so you know what we're talking about here.
I have just had it a couple of minutes ago, so I know what you speak of. I certainly know what you speak of. Now, tell me, this campaign, what is the end result you would like to see happen after this campaign goes out from the listeners and viewers of this program this morning? What of course, would you like to see the end result be in terms of that? You may not solve it entirely. It may not solve it entirely, but the impact of what you would like to see this campaign, of course, throughout.
No, it won't stop it. There will always be people who will be these keyboard warriors. But I think if we can change a number of people's minds, if we can let parents know what potentially they ought to be telling their children. And one thing we're doing in March is on the 8th of March, the time we're doing an event, and it coincides with International Women's Day. The event will shine a spotlight on women in the field of cybersecurity, and it will serve as a platform to champion their achievements, celebrations. And it just shows that the diversity can take place. Women's Day is really important to us. 50% of the team from Get Safe Online are women. They're more than capable, and we're putting on an event on the 8th of March, which people can go to the getsafeonline.gd website and see all about, and maybe listen to it and hear the inspiring future generations of women who are pursuing careers in cybersecurity. Really, really important, and to show that that respect for your parents, for your children, for women, particularly with it being International Women's Day, really important. And that's what we're looking to gain out of it. Hopefully some traction to make people think before they say something that they potentially will regret, or other people will take and it will affect them mentally.
All right, so they have the hope, of course, on March 8th, that the particular campaign goes out, and I certainly hope we get the response that you're certainly looking forward to, and from, of course, Get Safe Online. Now, tell us about some of the past campaigns that that you have seen an impact being made from, and some upcoming campaigns that we probably you could just probably give us a little preview of that we could look out for.
Well, we've been in the Caribbean for 2 years now, but in September we launched the first campaign for this area with regards to students. And students are really impacted by the internet. They put all their schoolwork on, they have photographs on it, and it's really important that they safeguard themselves. Of course, it's students that as well can really take up this mantle of respect. But if they lose something on their computer, it's devastating. If they pick up something which they think is too good to be true, it's probably because it is. Social media is a big impact on children and on students, and we think that made a big difference. We then followed up with ransomware. Now, ransomware affects everyone around the world, and it certainly affected people in the Caribbean and some big companies in the Caribbean who've been affected by people who have hacked into their system. These hackers do it, and we need to be aware of that. Ransomware is malicious software that can be put on your computer, and it can basically lock your computer so you can't access any of your material. The next thing that happens is a pop-up window comes up onto your screen and says, you are locked out of your computer, and unless you pay us money, we're not going to release it. So we need to be aware of that. We need to watch where we go and what we click on, which websites we go to. It leads me to, check a website, which is also on the Get Safe Online website, where you can go and check any website out before you go to it to know it's secure. And one of the most important things you can do is make sure you've got good security software, update your operating system and all your applications, and you back up your material. No good if this happens to you and you haven't got a backup to refresh all your data. So really important things to do.
All right. Tony, I want to thank you once again for sharing information. Of course, I know we're going to be back once again soon, of course, to speak about another campaign that you folks will put on out there, Get Safe Online. And of course, it's remarkable to hear of the various campaigns that you put out in just of making the world and everyone safer with it. Thank you so much, Tony. Any closing remarks from you?
No, just be careful on the internet. It's a fantastic place. Millions of successful interactions and transactions every day. But there are some horror stories, and we just highlighted one of them. But go to the Get Safe Online website and have a look for yourself. Be safe and be secure and have a good time on the internet.
All right. Same goes out to you, Tony. Have a good one and all the best.
All the best.
Thank you so much. Hey, folks, that we take a wrap for this edition of the Mid-Morning Buzz here on the Classic Radio GBN TV. Join us again for another edition.